They say if you want to know the truth about a town, don't go to the library. Go to the oldest bar on the block, pull up a stool, and wait for the third round to be poured. Because the truth isn't in the textbooks. It's in the floorboards. It's in the neon hum. It's in the stories told by people who've worked too hard to lie. We're going to start our journey in 1883, the year the Northern Pacific Railroad finally connected the East to the West. Imagine a town like Livingston, Montana. It was a place built on steam and grit. Close your eyes and imagine this town back then. Muddy tracks for streets, wooden sidewalks, and in 1883, Livingston had roughly 3,000 residents and was supported by 33 saloons. That's about one saloon for every 90 people, including women and children. Can you imagine that ratio? You couldn't walk 10 feet without hitting a brass rail and smelling the tangled foot or coffin varnish. That wicked homemade whiskey made with raw alcohol, burnt sugar, and a little chewing tobacco for kick. And it was being poured everywhere. If you love good music, strong drinks, and stories that smell like old wood, spilled beer, and hard-earned history, you're in the right damn place. I'm Patrick, and this is High Notes and High Proof. So pull up a stool, and let's talk. I need to be clear. I'm not a journalist. I'm not an academic. I'm just a guy who believes the best lessons in life are learned in the places with bad lighting and great conversation. I grew up in Big Fork, right in the heart of the Flathead Valley. And if you've ever been there, you know the air just feels different coming off the Swan River or the Flathead Lake. I spent my youth playing on those banks and getting lost in the woods of Crane Mountain. I looked at those mountain ranges every single day. They weren't just scenery to me. They were the walls of my home. I grew up in a very blue-collar family, surrounded by ranches and farms, places where work started before the sun came up and didn't stop until the job was done. I can still smell that sweet summer rain hitting the dry Montana dust. I can feel the pull of a trout on my fishing line in Swan River. I can hear the haunt of a loon off in the distance, and that heavy, eerie quiet of the valley on a foggy morning. But as I grew older, I moved from the woods to the wood of a bar top. I started joining the bar life myself, and that's where the real education began. I stopped being the kid playing in the dirt and became the man listening to the stories. When I talk about the wood of a bar top, I'm talking about our social anchors, the places that held the valley together when winters were long and work was scarce. Let's take the Big Fork Inn on Electric Avenue, for example. In 1937, a fire leveled the old hotel in 20 below zero weather. Patrons literally hauled beer barrels out into the street where they froze instantly. But a man named Ernie O'Brien, a guy they called the Kingfish, or the mayor of Big Fork, refused to let the town's heart stop beating. He rebuilt it as a Swiss chalet, and for decades, it was the center of everything. It's a place where school teachers lived and celebrities like Charlie Russell found a home. It wasn't just a business. It was the town's living room. Or look just up the road at the Garden Bar. For over 50 years, this has been the headquarters for what I like to call the Electric Avenue education. In the summer, that outdoor patio is the valley's town square. You've got people coming in off the lake in flip-flops, bikers in leather, and locals who haven't missed a Friday night since the 70s, all gathered under the big Montana sky. It's a High Notes legend for a reason. This isn't just a place where music is played. It's a place where music has survived. From the raw blues to the local rock bands that make the floorboards shake. The Garden Bar is where Montana's musicians go to prove they can hold a crowd's attention against the pull of a strong pour. It's rowdy, it's loud, and it's unapologetic. It's the kind of social anchor where the high proof side of the show isn't just about whiskey. It's about the proof of life you feel when the band hits that first chord and the whole town is right there with you. And you can't talk about the Garden Bar without talking about the man who practically owned the airwaves on Electric Avenue, Mr. Andre Floyd. If you've ever spent a summer night in Big Fork, you've heard that slide guitar cutting through the humidity. Andre's been a staple of Montana music scene for decades, and his Rocky Mountain Blues is the perfect example of what I'm talking about. It's music that's been shaped by the landscape, rugged, soulful, and a little bit wild. I remember hearing a story about a set he played years ago. The place was packed, wall to wall, sweat dripping from the ceiling, and the band was locked into this groove that felt like it would never end. In that moment, it didn't matter if you were a local or a tourist just passing through. You were part of the rhythm. That's the power of a high note. It takes a room full of strangers and turns it into a community, even if it's just for a length of a 12-bar blues. Or we might even take a trip to Moose's Saloon in Kalispell. In 1957, a former Grizz player named Moose Miller took over a quiet bar called the Corral and turned it into a time machine. He and 20 of his friends did a 48-hour remodel to create a Wild West saloon with sawdust floors and peanut shells everywhere. Moose's is the ultimate social equalizer. It doesn't matter if you're a U.S. Senator, a blue-collar logger, or even Evel Knievel planning your next jump. You're all sitting in the same dim light, carving your names into the same wooden booths. And I know that my name is still in one of those booths. That sawdust isn't just for show. It's there to soak up the stories. These are our anchors. They are the keepers of the unwritten 406 history that you will not find in a textbook. Montana is changing. We all see it. Just look around. And as we look toward the future, I realize those stories, the ones my dad told me, the ones my neighbors lived, they are the real treasure of the treasure state. So what is this show? High Notes and High Proof is the crossroads. It's where music meets whiskey. It's where history isn't written by somebody in a suit. It's passed down from across the bar tops. Before we had jukeboxes, we had the fiddlemen and the piano players in places like Madame Bulldog's Bucket of Blood Saloon, a rowdy Livingston landmark where the floor was always sticky and the clientele, it was transient. We're going to talk about legends like Martha Calamity Jane Canary, who lived in Livingston on and off for 20 years. She used to frequent the rowdy Bucket of Blood. People saw her as a hellraiser, but they also saw the woman who stayed behind to nurse smallpox victims when everybody else fled. So here's our flight plan. First, the music. We're talking about the legends who came to Montana, those who came from the 406, and the ones still grinding on the stage tonight. Second, the bars, the saloons, the dives, and the social anchors. These places have seen more truth and heartache than most courtrooms. Third, the pour, the local beer, the Montana-made spirits, and the mead that's worth pouring twice. And we're going to do it with a little something I call barstool philosophy. I believe some of the smartest conversations happen after the second drink. Barstool philosophy isn't about being right. It's about being honest. No filters, no fake polish, just 406 neat. Our journey together officially starts on March 1st. We're going to go back to 1883 to see how we became the wettest state in the West. We're going to talk Prohibition. We're going to talk the road soda culture of the 70s, and then the rise of the craft breweries that define us today. If this sounds like your kind of place, stick around, because it's only going to get better. Follow the show on Spotify and Apple. Follow me on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok for your visuals. I'm Patrick, and this is High Notes and High Proof. Pour one and press play.